Somebody needs to tell the Yankees that this isn't golf. The lowest score doesn't win. George Steinbrenner must be spinning in his grave at this point watching this team with a $200+ million payroll. All of these athletes. This team was projected before COVID began to win 118 to 122 games. I've seen that in some projections. That would be like a record best team ever. That's what this team was projected to do. Of course, you got to rely on everybody staying healthy. That hasn't happened. You have to rely on everybody, having at least a respectable performance. That has obviously not happened. So what has gone wrong with this team? Let's start off with nobody's hitting. Nobody's hitting. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. Luke Voigt's hitting. Clint Fraser's hitting. Outside of that, not many people are hitting. Nobody's pitching in the bullpen. 6-2 lead in the 6th inning and you give up 10 runs? What? That's supposed to be a championship team? Adam Ottavino seems like, he would be great at a party. He's just a goofy, fun-loving guy, but I'm not sure he has that killer instinct that you need. And Chad Green is great when you have a 5 or a 6 run lead usually, but last night he coughed it up. Chapman you can never trust because outside of the 100-mile-an-hour fastball, he really has no idea where the ball is going. I'm not sure he's recovered from that walk-off home run last year, and I can't stand that stupid smirk on his face every time he allows a walk-off. Someone has got to pay the price with their job for the way that this team has performed. Ultimately, it's up to the front office to put together a team that's representative of the city of New York and the fan base and, being the biggest sports brand in the world. This is a team that is supposed to be elite. You cannot underperform at this level consistently. We've seen it happen with other teams. The Red Sox won the World Series and then they collapsed the next year. But they did the smart thing. They broke it down and they're building it back up. I hate to say it, but the Yankees may need to break it down this offseason. They may need to break it down. The bullpen is trash. Utter trash. The offense, I wouldn't say that the offense is trash because we have some really good hitters. They just can't stay healthy. And the ones that we do have are trying to make up for all the home runs we've lost. And the organizational philosophy on hitting and the approach at the plate just does not seem to be working. Now, we do seem to score more runs when we hit more home runs. That's pretty obvious, but I feel like we need more DJ LeMahieus if they were out there, So I feel like someone's going to get the blame, and it would not surprise me if, guys like Aaron Boone, perhaps Matt Blake, perhaps Eric Cressy are in the hot seat this offseason. I don't think Cashman's job is on the line. He's kind of taken the reins of this organization. He's been the GM for 22 years. He pulls off a lot of trades that are basically a robbery. But this year it has completely gone off the rails. And this team is fighting to stay out of the basement. From a potential 120-win team to the basement in a 60-game season. How does that happen? How do you allow that to happen? How do you not go out and make some moves? I love Brian Cashman, and I know he watches occasionally. Man, we got to do something. Come on. Let's, fans, what do you want to do? Let's maybe get Real Muto this offseason. I don't know what you can do. There's no one move that's going to fix a team that's this fundamentally flawed. I don't see any fight. I don't see any killer instinct. Honestly, I like Aaron Boone as a person. I think he's a great clubhouse guy. I think he would have been a great bench coach. He is not a manager. Nope. He is not the guy that this team needs. You've got to have some fire to be a manager. You got to get ejected once in a while. You got to kick some dirt. You got to throw a water cooler. You got to show that you care about winning. You got to go by more than just your analytics. You've got to recognize when guys aren't getting over the plate, or getting the ball over the plate, and pull them. You've got to recognize when guys are not operating at 100%, and get them out of there before they have a month-long injury. I feel like Aaron Boone definitely deserves a large portion of the blame, and in my opinion, Aaron Boone's got to go. I've been an Aaron Boone supporter up until this point, but the fact that this team has failed to respond at all is just, it's a sign of poor leadership. It's a sign of poor leadership. And I think you need some new leadership. I think you need to set a new tone. I think letting Joe Girardi go was a huge mistake. This team came one win away from the World Series in 2017, and we've only gone downhill since then. We replace Joe Girardi with Aaron Boone. You let the lifeblood of the team, the guy who's the clubhouse leader in chemistry, Didi Gregorius, you let him go to Philadelphia. You give Gary Sanchez, who shows no will to win, endless opportunities to come through. He's finally on the bench. Took long enough. It took 35 games of hitting under 150 for him to see the bench for a little bit and get a wake-up call. So who's to blame? There's a lot of people to blame. And I just hope that, there are some repercussions for this type of season, because as a Yankees fan, I'm disappointed. I'm not used to being disappointed as a Yankees fan, and I know the Yankees work hard not to disappoint their fans, but this season is an abject failure. I don't think that Matt Blake gets a pass on this, even though it's his first season. I feel like he's been an abject failure as well. I mean, look at the ERAs of our staff. Jordan Montgomery's over 5. Adam Ottavino was under 2 last year, I think, and he's over 7. Chad Green can't get anybody out. Aroldis Chapman can't get anybody out. Zach Britton can't get anybody out. What the hell? If Matt Blake is still the pitching coach next year, the Yankees have done something incredibly wrong. At some point, you have to realize that games are won and lost on the field, and you need some kind of a field presence. Guys who've been through the war before. Guys who've won before. David Cohn is up there in the booth, and he's got insights that, while they're great for the listener, I would love it if the players could hear it. I would love the players to know, how to get out of some jams on the mound. I would love the hitters to know that, hey, you can't try and hit a home run every time. Even though you do score more when you hit home runs, look, you've got to be able to put together rallies. And, this team is just not doing a good job across the board. So they need to do some serious evaluation on, how they can get better before next season. I really don't think that keeping this team constructed as it is going to win anything. And I know that we're missing Aaron Judge and we're missing Giancarlo Stanton, but those guys alone are not going to get it done. Gleyber Torres has gone downhill since he joined. Is Marcus Timms just trying to get him to hit home runs every time? Are you changing up Gleyber Torres? When he first came up, he was incredible. Same thing with Gary Sanchez. What the hell is happening to these guys? At this point, it has to be bad coaching. These guys were strong enough athletes to get to the big leagues, to rise above the millions and millions of people who were competing with them for these jobs, and they had success right away. But then the coaches start tinkering with them and saying, oh, you should change your launch angle and hit more home runs. You should pull the ball more. You should stand in the box here. You should take more pitches. You should only swing at this type of pitch. I'm done with the analytics, guys. They are completely destroying this team. Let's get some baseball players in there on this coaching staff. Let's get some tough athletes in there. My dad actually commented on here. He said they should bring in Ichiro as a strength and conditioning coach. Yes! How about somebody who knows what they're doing? I don't want some egghead telling me, who's never played professional sports, telling guys how to stay on the field. Look, having these guys is great if you're running a computer simulation of a baseball season. But when you're actually trying to win on the field, you need guys who know how to play the game, at a high level versus the best competition, and you need guys who have been through the trenches who know how to stay on the field. That's who you should be listening to. So this team needs a major overhaul. All right, so I need to take a little break. So here is who's hot, who's not.
Who's hot? And who is not? Clint Fraser remains one of the only bright spots in the Yankees lineup. After picking up 2 hits and 2 more runs batted in last night, Clint Fraser is batting .284 with 5 home runs, 16 runs batted in, and a .945 OPS. If this were a full season, Fraser would be on pace for nearly 40 home runs and 120 runs batted in. Brett Gardner went hitless again last night, dropping his batting average to .170, and his OPS to .603. Tyler Wade is also ice cold, and as noted by one Reddit user, he has worse career offensive numbers than Astros pitcher Zach Greinke.
One slight bright spot last night, although it could have been better, was Clark Schmidt. Came in and pitched 1 inning of relief. He did walk 2 guys, which is not what you want, especially not down 12-6. But he did have 2 strikeouts, didn't allow any hits. I think Clark Schmidt is going to be a big-time pitcher. I think he's going to do better as a starter than out of the bullpen, much as Mike King has looked better when they've put him in the starting role rather than out of the bullpen, especially for a young pitcher. I used to think that maybe, a young pitcher would adjust better to the big leagues by coming in and working in small amounts, out of the bullpen. But I feel like if you get to control the pace and you have time to visualize what you're going to be working on and how you're going to work hitters rather than just kind of being thrown in there, I think it works better for a starter to make starts in the major leagues first rather than pitch out of the bullpen. I know there's varying philosophies on that, but I think they should give Clark Schmidt a start next time. Maybe next week. I mean, it can't hurt. I mean, the team is already down the toilet, so let's see what you got for next year. Start auditioning some guys, because right now it's looking like you're not going to make the playoffs. And the league obviously has scouting on most of our other pitchers, as seen by their astronomical earned run averages. But hey, Clark Schmidt has a chance to step up and be a big-time pitcher for the Yankees next year. One guy who may or may not be with the Yankees next year is the Kraken, Gary Sanchez. As you've seen, he's had a couple of days off to think things over. He's been on a bit of a timeout, but I'm not sure the Yankees are going to bring him back. I feel like he still has some trade value because some teams might feel the Yankees are using him wrong. They might feel like he's still fixable because he's 27 years old. They might want to put him somewhere else. They might want to put him at first base or DH. So the Kraken does have a little bit of value. But I feel like the Yankees might go out and try and sign JT Realmuto. He's only 29 this year. He's going to be 30 next year. You could probably get him for a 4 or 5 year contract just because he is entering his age 30 season. Now, he will be expensive because he is far and away the best catcher in baseball. But the Yankees need to do something at that position. You can't keep running these nobodies out there. And you can't keep running Gary Sanchez out there when he simply doesn't perform. That is it for me. I will be back with post-game highlights, hopefully of a Yankees win for once. I'll see you next time. Hey guys, help support the podcast by buying swag from my store. Link is in the description.
If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. It helps YouTube suggest this channel to other Yankees fans.